Welcome to Time for Hope, a ministry of Hope for Living Media Church and Bible Study Time Incorporated. Here's your pastor and host, Dr. Freda Crews.
Thank you for joining us on Time for Hope. I'm Dr. Freda Crews, your host, and today as my guest, I would like to welcome author, sought-after conference speaker, and founder and senior pastor of Word of Faith Family Worship Cathedral in Atlanta, Georgia, Bishop Dale C. Bronner. Today, Bishop Dale and I will be discussing his book titled, Change Your Trajectory, subtitled, Make the Rest of Your Life Better. Our lives are like objects speeding through time, constantly colliding with changing circumstances or situations that send us down new pathways in life. Change, however, does not have to be a bad word. When we learn how to respond correctly to change, it can make the rest of our lives even better than before. Stay with us as Bishop Dale and I show you ways you can respond positively to a rapidly and constantly changing world and learn how to become a master, not a victim. And Bishop Bronner, it's wonderful having you on Time for Hope. I can't imagine with all that you're involved in that you could take the time to come and spend this time with us, but I certainly appreciate it.
It is my pleasure.
Yes, you are a very busy man. I know a little bit about busyness myself.
Sure, I'm certainly that you do, but I grew up in the business world. My dad was a businessman and founded a business in 1947. And so we have celebrated 70 wonderful years in the business world. So I grew up in the business world. It was really such a great thing to realize that I didn't have to choose between God and money. I only felt that I had to choose which one I would serve. And that decision was easy because both my mother and father served God, were tithing members of our local church, and they did business with integrity of heart that is still going forward today.
And money didn't take their hearts away from God, did it?
It did not at all.
No. You know, there is this idea that if you are a real devout Christian, that you're not supposed to be prosperous and you're not supposed to have, the good things in life and so on and so forth. Not everybody believes that, but there are those that do believe that. But what do they do with people like King Solomon?
Right, exactly, exactly.
You mentioned him immediately in your book,
yes.
And your father.
Yes.
And we think of the prosperous
yes.
people in the world.
Absolutely.
And it hasn't taken them away from God. What's the key, Bishop?
I think it's just really realizing who the source is.
I agree with you.
And when we realize that all of these blessings come from God, it's a blessing from God. He allows us to be a steward of it. Mm-hmm. We're not the owner of any of the prosperity. We're just a steward that God entrusts in our heart. And that way, when He sees one of His children who needs help, He speaks to the heart, and He uses then us as a resource to then be a blessing to others.
You know, we come from such different backgrounds, you and I. Now that of course, I knew about your father's business and you growing up in the business world and so forth. But here I am, being reared in the country,
yes,
being raised on a farm or
wow.
farms, and working the farms.
Yes.
Then so it's a totally
wow.
Different world that we have come from, but in some ways we've ended up in very
yes.
similar situations in
yes.
life before it's been over, so to speak.
Absolutely. Well, before my father got into the manufacturing business, his father was a master farmer and had several people working for him in the farm in his hometown. So I came from that on my father's side of the family. On my mother's side of the family, I'm a fourth generation preacher. So I'm a fourth generation businessman on my father's side. I'm a fourth generation preacher on my mother's side. So all of my great-great-grandfather was a minister. My great-great-great-grandfather was a minister. So I'm a merger between both ministry and business.
Isn't our destiny amazing when we know that God has a destiny for us?
Yes.
And that if we stay close enough to Him and follow Him, that we'll reach that destiny that He has intended from the beginning
Yes.
for us?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, it sort of reminds me, like driving in an automobile. To me, the destiny is like the windshield, and our history is like the rearview mirror. We should spend a little time in the little rearview mirror reflecting on what is behind us. But the greater opportunities are what's outside of the windshield. That's destiny. And the rearview mirror is history. And I've watched people looking in the rearview mirror trying to drive forward, having accidents, allowing their history to hinder their destiny. And the real power of the gospel is where God, despite our history, empowers our destiny. So our destiny is exciting.
You know, as a professional counselor for many years, I dealt with a lot of people dealing with their past.
Yes.
And
yes.
one of the most difficult things for many people is letting go of the past, especially
Yes.
if it's a painful past.
Yes.
That they hang on to that painful past, and they want to take it sometimes and use it as an excuse,
Yes.
rather than wanting to get
Yes.
through it and, as you say,
Yes.
getting it into the rear view mirror and
Yes.
moving on
Yes.
towards the future. But I've seen many persons, though,
Yes.
be able to break through that
Yes.
perspective or that trajectory, we could use that
Yes.
word, and move on. I've had them stand up. I remember one lady having quite a painful past. And one day, after many months we had worked together, she stood straight up and she said, "I'm ready to go.
Oh, wow.
I'm ready to go." And you know, those are good words.
Yes,
Those are
they
things you
are.
like to hear as
Yes.
a counselor when
Yes.
you help, as it were, help them put the past in the
Yes.
past where it
Yes.
belongs,
Yeah, absolutely.
and move towards the future, a new future,
Yes.
a free future sometimes,
Yes.
an exciting future. And that brings me to getting started with your book and the whole idea of trajectory. You start out with what kind of changes are taking place in the world today,
Yes.
and how rapidly our world is changing.
Yes.
So no matter where the two of us have come from, it's true today for both of us.
Yes.
We're seeing changes and things happen that we never dreamed. I can
Yes.
remember my father saying that he was so thankful that he got to live into the post-Depression era, because he had known the pre-Depression era and even the Great Depression,
Yes, yes.
working for $1 a day in on the farms, and so on and so forth. But look where we've gotten, what
Yes.
we've gotten to do, and where we've gotten to move from. And some of it hasn't been good, though.
Right.
Some of it
Right.
has not been good. A lot of it
Yes.
today
Yes.
is not good,
Yes.
that we're moving out of and
Yes.
moving into. And you know some of the things that I have in my mind right now. But right now, I would like you to give a definition, a good definition of trajectory.
Wow. Your trajectory is the plan. It is a course that propels us towards something in the future. And if something is off just 1 degree, if you started out in California flying a plane, and if it's just 1 or 2 degrees off and you think that you're headed toward New York, you'll actually wind up in Maine. just because the trajectory being off just a little. And that's why our foundation is so important. You mentioned about how some of the changes that have happened in our world and in our society are not good, and many of them are not good. And that's why it is my prayer of Lamentations 5:21, turn us back to thee, O God, and we will be restored, and renew us as in the times of old. So there are certain things that we should never, ever forsake. They are what I would consider to be our anchors. So the more that times change, the more we need to hold to the anchors that never change. And God and the foundation of His Word, those are our anchors that really help us to process and deal with change.
Well, so this is within our trajectory, and that's what you're encouraging, that those old paths, we hold on to the good old paths, and let that be a part of where we want to go, and how we want to handle the changes that are taking place. Just, you know, could think of some right away that are taking place that I don't like. I'm going to be very honest. I don't like some. I don't like our what's being taught in our and can't be taught, as it were, in our public educational systems. What can't be practiced. What's being encouraged even with our within our football games, and when you know these kinds of things, I'm going to be honest, I don't like. Those are not part of the old past, and should not be a part of our trajectory either. It's those wrong trajectories that has people going in those wrong, and they are wrong directions that they are going in.
That is so true. I mean, I look at it today, we're dealing with vast sociological changes. I mean, gender confusion issues. You know, with grown men who say that they self-identify as a woman and then being able to go into a women's bathroom. I have 4 daughters. Oh, and you don't want to be in there with those daughters when they go to the bathroom, do you? Right. So we're dealing with sociological change, technological change, economic change, environmental change, political change, all of this change that is converging on us. I mean, I think that we probably have seen more change in the last 20 or 30 years than we perhaps have seen in the previous 200 or 300 years. So the trajectory of change has accelerated in our culture. Just think about the change that has come into our society as a result of the internet alone. It has changed how we shop. It has changed how we communicate. You can do a telephone call now through the internet. We text, the younger generation, they don't almost use their telephones to call. They use the texting feature. How we communicate, how hotels process your registration, how we book airline reservations now, how we rent automobiles. Our whole world has changed just through that one thing of technology. Before we had radio and television, that's why we had preachers on the street corner heralding the gospel.
Saturday afternoon was in town. You could expect a preacher to be on the corner. They wouldn't want that today. They wouldn't like that today at all. As a general rule, most people would not like that today. So we've just begun, just touch the tip of the iceberg of the kind of changes that should be going considered as we develop our trajectory, bring it up to date, so to speak. You agree with me on that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, I think they're telling me it's time for a break, so we're going to need to go and pick up when we get back, and we will be right back. Have you convinced yourself that life is against you and there is nothing you can do to change it? Then allow me to challenge you to refuse to believe such a falsehood and instead believe this can be the year that you begin to make some changes that can give you the life you have dreamed about. However, you cannot sit idly by and believe these changes will take place on their own without you resolving to take charge of your life and making them happen. The fear of change keeps many people locked in the prisons of boredom, failure, and pessimism. There can be a sense of comfort and control in the known, and the fear of losing control and getting out of your comfort zone can keep you from moving towards change. Let's look at the word change itself and structure some directions for enjoying newfound freedom, meaning, and success in life. The first letter, C, can challenge you to take an inventory of your life and determine what changes you need to or would like to make. As you take the inventory, be willing to accept the things that cannot be changed and focus on things that can be changed. The H can remind us that we must call a halt to self-defeating behavioral patterns in our lives. This will require that we become aware of the things we do that keep us from enjoying life on a higher plane and be willing to seek help to change if necessary. The A can make you conscious of unresolved anger related to certain relationships and situations. You must own it, deal with it, and let it go. This will include a willingness to forgive those who have hurt or abused you. The N can remind you there will be times when you must practice using the word no instead of trying to please or win the approval of others. Allow the G to urge you to go for the goals and dreams that you have allowed to fade or have given up on, believing it is never too late to chase your realistic dreams. Allow the E to challenge you to become earnest in your quest for purpose, meaning, freedom, and success in your life. This will require a change from seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances to believing with God's help you can make changes that will afford you a better life. Thanks for staying with us on Time for Hope. My guest for today is Pastor Dale Bronner, and we're talking about his book, Change Your Trajectory. And at this point, I'm going to take the time to make sure that you know we are just really touching the very edges of this book, and you will need to get a copy of Bishop Bronner's book to get the whole that he has written about, that he's poured his soul into, about changing your trajectory. And you might think, well, I don't know, I didn't know I needed to change. If you listen to us, even we're putting out enough that you will find out that with all the changes that are taking place, that it will force you, as it were, to change your trajectory. Change can do that. Transitions can do that. They can force you into situations so that you need a new trajectory, as it was. So I highly, highly encourage you to get a copy of Bishop Bronner's book, Change Your Trajectory. And you agree with me on that, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that we're just not, we're just kind of giving them a taste, as it were, of what we're talking about. You mentioned there between change and transition.
Yes.
And I believe you actually bring out in your book that transitions are more difficult than just change.
Yes. Absolutely.
Well, changes bring transitions, though.
Yeah,
yes,
right.
And transitions can bring change.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they're kind
Absolutely.
of tied together. But what is it that is fearful, as it were, for a lot of people when it comes to thinking about change.
Yes.
And then that brings me to some things we've already discussed. What are people doing today
Yes.
with, they have no choice in the matter of facing a lot of the changes that are taking place today. They can't just run and hide and it go away.
Right.
So how are you encouraging them, and how would your book encourage them to handle the reality of where we are in
Yes.
our world today?
Wow, that's a great question, and it is true that both change and transition, and I do make a distinction between the two. Change is more like the actual event. A spouse dies, that's a significant change. Transition is the emotional, psychological, financial, and relational processing of the change. Change is external. Transition is internal. So we go through all of these internal things. A person loses their job. That's an external change. But now they come home. They start worrying about, how am I going to pay my bills? How will I reposition myself now to find another job? That's transition. All of those are transitional issues. How will this affect my spouse, my children, anyone who's depending upon me? That's a transitional, internal issue that we wrestle with. When God begins to work in our hearts, He starts working on the transitional things. That's where He captures us. But change is intimidating. We are fearful because it's this gray area of the unknown. We don't know what it holds for us. But we know the ones, when we trust in God, we know the one that holds the future. We know the one who said in Jeremiah 29:11, I know the plans that I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you a hope and a future. So we trust in that. And that's what I would encourage a person to do when they're going through changes that really rock their world. Govern your input. What are you putting into your life? What are you watching? What are you listening to? Yes, absolutely. So I would encourage them to get in their Bible, go back to the core of what they used to be, the core things that kept them grounded and balanced. That's very important, is their input, their associations, who they're allowing around them, because there are other wise people that are within their reach that can speak to them when they are jaded and clouded in their own perceptions as to what they do. And then the right environment. The right environment. Everything happens in an environment. There are certain environments that help us to relax. And it's hard to even think straight if you're stressed out. Environments help to change our moods. And when you're around pleasant people, pleasant sceneries, that's an environment. And it really helps us to be able to process both change and transition.
And I also think adding to that and putting into that is what you mentioned. What can relieve us of fear of what is going to happen? And I'm so thankful that you've already put in that God knows exactly about all the changes, and He knows how they're going to affect us. He also knows how we should look to Him to face these changes, because so many are being forced on us that we don't have any control over, and we're going to have to make some decisions and form a new trajectory on life, period, and on a lot of other situations. You said, out of your book, I'm quoting, your latter days ought to be fuller and sweeter than your earlier days. So we don't look back to the good old days. We got to face the reality of the days now, right? And they can still be good, right? To let you finish this life in peace and fulfillment in the strength and blessing of the Lord. So this is the time to trust Him. He's gone nowhere, has He?
Yes,
And He's not going anywhere.
Right.
And so we can encourage our viewers at a time like this. And we're living in perilous days.
Yes.
We're living in perilous times.
Yes.
And we never know, like, with North Korea, with that, just released that bomb that they tell us that could have reached the United States of America.
Yes.
So what do people do that aren't trusting God and but it's causing some changes that we have to make, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It's time for us to go out. I'm going to be sharing from a couple of viewers. You have some last words to say to our viewers, Bishop?
Well, just that in times like these, we need a Savior. We need to be able to trust with a solid rock foundation, trusting in His Word, and valuing the things that will mean the most to us when we come to the end of our journey, our family and our friends.
I like that. I like that. And I say again, I want to make sure that you know that I'm encouraging you to make sure you get a copy of Bishop Bronner's book. We're going to do another show with him, by the way, a second show, but on another book of his. So I can already encourage you to make sure that you get on and come on board with us even for the next show that will follow this show. In the meantime, I have something to share with you from a viewer that says, "Dear Dr. Freda, please pray for me that I would have peace of mind and the mind of Christ." What a blessing to have peace of mind and the mind of Christ in the midst of these storms that we're talking about. I need prayer to be set free from anxiety and to be able to rest in God and live life to the fullest. This person is just expressing what a lot of us could express in our desires. So we're going to leave you with that today. I would encourage you, if you haven't sent in your prayer requests to us, that you're very welcome to do it. We encourage you to do it. We have a Monday morning worship service here, and we take up all the prayer requests that have come into Time for Hope. And we believe in prayer, and we know God knows about your situation and hears our prayers. And so we welcome your prayer request. And then I would say, make sure you join us again next week, as I will have Bishop Bronner back with another book of his on Time for Hope.
Thank you for watching Time for Hope, a ministry of Hope for Living Media Church and Bible Study Time Incorporated. We offer a free fact sheet with more information on today's topic. Call or write us to get your copy today. The resource we are offering this week is available for a donation of at least $15 to the Time for Hope ministry. Any additional donation you wish to send will be greatly appreciated. Call us at 800-669-9133. Write us at Post Office Box 2169, Spartanburg, South Carolina 29304. Or visit our website at timeforhope.org. As we continue to give out messages of hope, a financial gift of any amount to support this ministry will be greatly appreciated. When you send us a gift, you are joining us in offering hope to many viewers seeking help and hope for their situations, and enabling us to inform and inspire viewers to expand our mission as they learn and in turn can minister more effectively to hurting people around them. Look for Dr. Freda's Scriptural Devotions on our Time for Hope TV Ministry Facebook page. And to see this program again online, visit our website or search for the Time for Hope TV Ministry on YouTube, iTunes, Roku, or Facebook. Until next time, have a great week. And remember, it is time for hope.